Hey everyone, this is Steve with Keep 'em Rollin', and I'm going to do just a quick video here highlighting some of the finds I picked up at this past weekend's military show. It's Sunday evening, so the show ran yesterday and Friday. Just a general overall view, which, I kind of stated how I felt about the show during my walkthrough, but just to recap, wonderful show. Prices were all over the place, as you expected any show. Some people were high, some were fair, and some were low. Lots of different items. What I found interesting, though, was the lack of field gear. There just wasn't a lot of field gear available to look at. I had gone with a list where I was looking for 3 canteens to complete different belt rigs, and not a one. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Lots of groupings and uniforms. But still, a fantastic show. Now, on to the finds. I picked up just a few things. We'll start off with, I'm a dog tag person. I love finding dog tags. I like unusual dog tags. And these right here I picked up because he only had the 2. He said that's all that he could find at the sale. But they're brothers. So this tag is to one gentleman, and this tag is to another. This is the later tag that just has the serial number and tetanus shot and name and so forth. And this is the early tag that has the full next of kin. Now, the interesting thing is that, these gentlemen served in World War II. They're from the Detroit area. And, I jumped on some of my beginning research sites to see what I could find about them, and I've got nothing, including the National Archives. And that can be discouraging. I did find, I believe it was this gentleman's, I found his grave listed, and it states that he served in World War II. So I've got a few other sites I'm going to try and go to see if I can discover what these gentlemen did during the war. But it's interesting how this might be the only record to show that these gentlemen served during World War II. So they will be documented and go into my dog tag collection. I picked up some photographs. Gentleman had some really nice ones, and the price, as you can see, was very fair. Once again, I try not to buy too many of these because they tend to pile up, but I look for unusual ones. And I like this one. Looks like I'll just leave it in the paper. Sorry, you're seeing these things raw out of the show, okay? This one here, I picked up because I like the fact he's wearing his watch cap, and that's really cool. You don't see that often. Now, these are the World War I, and I just love the subject matter. The fact that he's with this young girl, probably sister. He's young enough, it looks like sister. Could be daughter, but I doubt very much it's the daughter. But just a classic pose. This one I liked because he's an enlisted man. You look and see his collar just there. Yet he's holding on to this pretty fancy riding crop here. Or a swagger stick. That's something that you'd normally see officers holding on to or carrying around. So I think that's kind of interesting that he's holding one of those. And you can see these are just your standard, actually this one's a photograph, but this one here is your standard photo postcard, once again, out of Detroit, Michigan. This one I liked just because the patriotic backdrop. I love that large flag that's been unfurled there, standing, probably just got that uniform on, went to have the picture taken, and is just really contemplating his choices in life right at this particular moment. So, and once again, another photo postcard. Just so you all know, this is another tip. If you look at the photo postcard on the back, you see where it says place stamp here. This is called a stamp box. If you go online and you type in, just on a Google search, dating stamp boxes, you'll find a few sites that will show all of these stamp boxes, and they'll give you date ranges. So for instance, this one here, there's different ones. Like you can see the triangles are down and then the triangles are both up. Some have, for this particular one, AZO, sometimes the triangles are up and down, and you match the box and it'll tell you, oh, that card was in use from 1910 through 1930. So that's just a little tip right there of dating these photo postcards. So another one here, it's upside down. Another one with a young man and kid. Love it. And then I picked this one up here. This is a World War II. Those are all World War I. This one here I love because he's in his pea coat. The hat's kind of got a little bit of a rakish flip to it there, U.S. Navy. And then down below here we have some other pictures that were stuck into the frame, which I think are really cool. And then it's got your loving nephew, Eddie. So cool. And this one was $4, and he actually cut me a deal because I bought this mug here. This I'm going to show you. I've got these two mugs right here, and I love these, okay? These are not easy to come by. These are called watch mugs, warming mugs, Navy mugs. They were used in the mess aboard ships. They called watch mugs because apparently the sailors would carry them around on watch. You could put hot coffee in them, and because there's no handle, you'd simply hold it with both hands. It would help warm you up if you were on a cold watch. Warming mugs because it would warm your hands and such. They're very, very heavy. They're very well insulated. I shouldn't say insulated. They're very well conductive of heat. So if you do put hot water in here or coffee, it just kind of radiates through the glass and just it does create a nice warming effect on your hand. Now, these things are, as I said, not easy to find. They're really heavy, and they were in use pre-World War II all the way up into, I believe, the 70s, somewhere in there. But the trick is finding the ones that are the World War II. So one thing you want to look for is on the underside, they're usually marked. So this one's the United States Quartermaster Corps. It's got the manufacturing number and then the date, 1940. You can see that 40 on there, November 14th, I believe, if I'm reading that through my camera here. This is the one that I bought at the show. So this one I found a few years ago, and I've been looking for more. This one, the guy happened to have it. He actually had it at a show I went to a few months ago. I was going to pick it up, and then I balked and didn't do it, and he had it at this show. I don't think people really know what they are and how hard they are to find. This one is U.S. Quartermaster Corps, and look at that date, January 6, 1936. Isn't that cool? Now, someone speculated the CCC stands for Civilian Conservation Corps. I don't really believe that because these were more used by the Navy than they were anything else. Still, though, I mean, you never know, but it's a neat piece. Now, I'm showing you these because if you're a Navy collector, this is a great piece to have in your collection. And a lot of times, these are things you'd simply walk right by. You know, you're at a flea market and you see this sitting on a table. You're not going to go, ooh, that looks like a Navy mug. You're just going to think, yeah, it's an ugly mug. It's a weird modern vase, and you're just going to walk by it. You know, so take a look at these. They're very, like I said, very heavy, very thick. And just next time you're out, see if you can find one. Now, as I said, they were used well past World War II, and they're being reproduced. There's a company, I believe, out of China that's making them, and you can have things stenciled on them like U.S. Navy and you know, your ship's name or what have you. Like if you're going to do a reunion event for your ship, you could buy them by the gross, if you will, and have them stenciled and then hand them out as souvenirs. So, one tip, they will not be stenciled. They did not say U.S. Navy. They were just a simple white kind of porcelain mug, okay? The second thing is, on the bottom, this blue stamp. This is what you want to see. Some are marked Pyrex. I'm not sure what the year is on the Pyrex ones, but, you know, these are the ones you want to find, okay? So just be on the lookout for them. They are really, really cool. Now, price on this, the one that I acquired, this one right here, I paid, I want to say in the end, he sold it to me for $23, which I think was a really fair price to pay for that. So, these are some of the items I picked up, but I did pick up one final thing. It was kind of my big purchase at the show, and I've got it behind me here. I've got it dressed out on a mannequin, and I hope that you guys and gals love this as much as I do, because I think it's one of the neater pieces that I've now added to my collection. So here we go. Check this out right here. Now, it's not the hat. The hat I had, and I just added to it for the display. And the shirt and tie actually belonged to a gentleman who was in the Army Air Force, and I added to this just to create the display, but it's the jacket that I bought. Look at that jacket. Now, what is so cool about this is this big, beautiful leather patch here on the front. And this is, of course, the ATC, or the Air Transport Command. And these were the strategic airlift component of the United States Army Air Force. Okay, these were the guys that were and gals, because the WASPs were a part of this in a small way. These were people moving planes, they were moving equipment, they were moving men and women, and so forth and so on. Where they became well known was in the China-Burma India theater, flying the hump. A lot of those guys flying those C-47s were Air Transport Command. So, I mean, that is just incredible. And then if you look up here, we've got the leather captain's bars on here. Just a beautiful, beautiful, got one on this side here too. But what makes this so cool and why I was like, oh, I've got to buy this is, if you stand back and look at that, does anybody know what that is? That coat. You can see it's got the, I can show you the belt down here. Whoops, you got the belt. There's the belt buckle. Anybody want to hazard a guess as to what this is? This, ladies and gentlemen, is actually an A4 flight suit. So this particular officer took an A4 flight suit, which normally it would have, and I'll pull one of the, so you can see it's got the snap, it's got the zipper on here. You got the really cool pocket here to hold map, pens, other things you would need for flying. And then this flight suit should continue on down, and you can see where it ends. It ends as a coat. But it should continue down and have the legs coming all the way down and so forth and so on. So this particular officer took an A4 flight suit, found somebody to tailor it into this custom jacket. I mean, isn't that just, it's so slick, it's so suave, if you will, jaunty, you know, it's sophisticated. You could tell that this was a pilot or someone involved in flying who really took his appearance seriously. Just an awesome, I've never seen one like it. I bought it from a gentleman who is a very serious Army Air Corps collector. And, you know, he basically, there was no dealing on the price. Price was what it was. And I'm not going to tell you the price because it was ouchy. It was under $200 though, so I'll give you that. But his comment to me is, you know what? I want the price on it. And if I don't get the price, it's going home to my collection. I really don't care. I like it. I just have too much stuff, was his comment. He also went on to say that, you know what? Do me a solid. If you decide you don't want it, look me up and I will buy it back from you. I'd like first offer, you know, of sale if you don't mind, which I took that as a really kind of almost like a guarantee, if you will, but just an incredible. So as I said, I had a mannequin. I have just this nice khaki shirt here that I threw on. The shirt's a little unusual, and then it's got it's hard to see underneath, but it's got like this extra button across there to secure it. So the shirt in its own right is kind of cool. I threw on this wonderful hat here, which I'll have to do a video on later. It's a khaki, true khaki crusher. This one was actually manufactured in Karachi, India, if you can believe that. Yeah, so that was my big find. And it's one of those things that I looked at it and I thought, it's so cool. Should I buy it? The price. And I looked at it on Friday. I'm like, it's so cool, but the price. And I went back Saturday a couple times, and my wife surprised me. She stopped by the show, and you know, I showed her, and she's like, it's really cool, but the price. And I'm like, yeah. And it got to the very end of the show, and I'm like, you know what? And he's telling me, I'm not coming down, and you know, I really like it. And he was a nice guy. I mean, this wasn't any sort of conflict conversation, but it got to the point where I'm just like, you know what, if I don't buy it, I'm gonna kick myself every which way. So I pulled the trigger, and just a great addition. And it goes to show that sometimes those big items aren't, you know, you're gonna have to kind of pay up to add some of those big items. And you know, the money, and I'm sure other collectors, I've heard them talk about this, the money that I use, it's my hobby money. For those who think that I have deep pockets, no, but I manage my money frugally. I have a little fund I set aside, so when I know a show's coming, I know that I'll have a little bit of money to take to the show to find one or two cool things. And I encourage all of you to do that. You know, if you know a show's coming in 6 months or 8 months, start setting aside $20 a week. And you'd be surprised how fast that money adds up and allows you to kind of spend without worrying. You know, I will never use money that's earmarked for bills or anything like that. I don't like putting things on credit cards, so, you know, that's just my philosophy. Sorry, went off the rails there a little bit. It's getting late on Sunday night. I'm tired and I tend to ramble. So let's leave it at that. I am getting closer to my room tour here. I kind of giving you guys a little bit of a taste there. The flicker in the back is a candle, and it's actually an electric candle, but I will show you that when I do the room tour. So on that note, everybody out there, this is Steve I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed my finds, and I encourage all of you, as always, to keep them rolling.